Gluten-Tag, something super crazy and exciting happened and I want to show you. On my quest to make the easiest and best sourdough bread. One of you recommended trying to bunch a lot of flour, some water, some sourdough starter and a little bit of salt in a large bucket. Mixing that and then keeping that as your sourdough livestock. And then whenever you want to bake a bread, just take a little bit of that, bake it, and you have your fresh, amazing sourdough bread. I've never heard of a method like this, but this sounds ridiculous and crazy enough for me to test this and show you. Now, if that doesn't sound crazy enough for you, I have two amazing surprises waiting at the end of this video. Those two surprises are gonna take it even further. Let's have some fun and let me show you. I'm using 1000 grams of bread flour. I'm adding 20 grams of salt and then around 1000 grams of room temperature water in which I dissolved 100 grams of sourdough starter. The dissolving is a great trick to make mixing a little bit easier as you make sure that you have an equal fermentation everywhere inside of your sourdough dough. That's really a great trick. Now I'm just using a spatula and I'm going to be mixing everything together for around a minute. German mode, we don't let anything go to waste. So I pretty much just mixed it until everything has been nicely homogenized and I don't see large chunks of flour in there somewhere. And next I'm using a small pencil to mark the starting line of the dough on the container, and I want to wait until this roughly doubled in size. Then the dough is ready. So it's 10 p.m. now and I'm hoping this dough is going to be ready sometime tomorrow morning. I'm gonna be letting everything sit overnight. No stretch and folds, nothing. This is so easy. All we have to do is wait for this dough to increase in size. See you tomorrow.
The next day.
Good morning. It's been around 12 hours and our dough has doubled in size. You could also simply eyeball it, but you have to be a little bit careful because this is not of cylindrical shape necessarily, this container. So yeah, be careful with the doubling in size. Anyways, nerd mode deactivated. I'm now going to be putting this into the fridge and this is going to be my long-term sourdough storage. Inside of the fridge, the fermentation almost comes to a halt below 6 degrees Celsius. So it's going to sit in there and whenever I need it, I can use it to make something amazing out of this. At least that's the theory. We still need to test that this actually is going to work. I'm super excited. I think this is somewhat my livestock, almost like with a cow or a goat or a sheep where you can get milk whenever you need it. This is my livestock in terms of sourdough. Check this out, how this perfectly fit into the fridge. Isn't this magic? Just like this container was made for this compartment in the fridge. See you! 48 hours passed. The dough collapsed a little bit, but just because I had to take a thumbnail picture for the YouTubes. Let's now take this dough and bake it. And I have two more crazy methods prepared, other than the regular one that I'm going to show you. Awesomeness is incoming. So method one, I guess the default one is going to be to just use a loaf pan like this. We're not going to be using a banneton because this dough is just way too sticky. So we're going to be using a loaf pan. I'm going to grease it a little bit with some non-stick vegetable oil. That really does wonders. And then we are going to bake this. This should make us a very, very decent sandwich bread. At least that's what I hope. And voila, we scoop in just a little bit of sourdough, around 800 grams because I know that works for my loaf pan. And I'm now just going to be using a spatula to spread this out a little bit. Wetting the spatula seems to help a little bit. A few spritzes of water. And now this is gonna go into the unpreheated oven. Why not preheated? Because we have support from the loaf pan. When you don't have support, when you bake with a banneton, you want the crust to form at a certain period of time so you don't get a flat pancake. That's something that makes every baker sad. So with the loaf pan, we don't need that. Plus, the temperature is going to increase slowly, and while it increases, the yeast is going to become more and more active. So it's going to give us a little bit of oven spring and make it even fluffier, because now it's probably not as fluffy as it could be because we simply degassed the dough. So the yeast is going to enter turbo mode, and then ultimately the yeast is going to die. Actually a little bit sad, but it's going to make us an amazing bread anyways. So let me put that right into the oven. Now this tray really does the trick. An additional tray on top to make sure that the crust doesn't form too quickly, the bread doesn't dry out from the top too much. That's what you want. I'm gonna be baking this until the core temperature reaches around 80 degrees Celsius. A thermometer really does the trick. And then we're gonna flip it out, and we're gonna let it continue bake until the core temperature is 95 degrees Celsius. So that's upper bottom heat, and we are going for 230 degrees Celsius. No preheating, nothing, super easy and simple. And you're not gonna expect it, but this is really crazy. Check this out. The bread baked for around 40 minutes, and it looks amazing. It cracked open like that. Wow. Let's see if we can now take it out of the loaf pan, because that's always an issue with those loaf pans. Ah, so good. Core temperature, please unzip your pants. And do you see that? It's ready. We are above 97 degrees Celsius. I could bake it for longer, then I would get more darkening. That's something you could do, but this bread looks ready. I'm just gonna let that cool down now. We're gonna slice it in a bit. It just needs to be colder, else we'll tear the crumb. But I'm now gonna show you another crazy idea that I had. And the next craziness upcoming. I heated some olive oil in a pan, and now we're just gonna try to make a delicious flatbread. Now I'm just gonna be cooking this for a few minutes, and then I'll flip it over and let's see what's gonna happen. But there's one even crazier thing coming up. Check how nice and puffy this bread came. It's time to flip it over. Wow. Just a little bit longer, and then this is going to be a crazy flatbread. I'm gonna prepare the next thing that I wanted to show you. And voila, we just made an amazing flatbread. This looks so good and fluffy. Now let's do the next magical thing. And here comes the idea. Imagine you have friends over and you're going to make a barbecue. And then your friends, they want to taste bread, but you don't have fresh bread. Instead, what you got is, you get this magic box of sourdough sitting right there in your fridge. Then you just take out some sourdough and you put that on your barbecue. Your friends are going to love you until the end of your life for this magic barbecue. And that's exactly what we're going to do now. I preheated this tiny cast iron pan. You could also be using a larger one. I'm just adding a little bit more olive oil because I don't want anything to stick in here. And here comes our magic box again. A little bit of additional oil. And then back onto the barbecue. And voila, I'm baking this over medium heat until I see that it has nicely puffed up. And voila, look at this. This is looking amazing. Let's see if we can flip this over. This is great. So now it just gets a little bit of a charring here. We have to be careful. Then I'll finish it on indirect heat. Okie dokes, let's see if we can flip this over. What happened there? But you know what? I want to give this a nice pattern here. I think it's just gonna look very, very fabulous. Okie dokes, let's flip this over. Okay, the pattern didn't work out as much as I expected, but still, I'm not gonna let this continue bake because I think it's done. So no indirect heat like I planned. Let's just let this cool down and then taste it. Now, isn't this crazy? All from the same dough that was inside of the fridge. I present to you a beautiful sourdough loaf, nice and rustic, cracked open. A pan bread looks very nice and super soft. And the barbecue bread. Let's check first our pan breads. Oh, so soft. This is gonna taste awesome. Very good. Our soft barbecue bread. Amazing. And let's check the crumb of this one. I probably should have let it cool down even further, but nice, soft and fluffy crumb. Let's taste this. Amazing too. I can't believe it. All this bread out of a single dough, and I even got another one which I just prepared. I just added some seeds on top, so that might be a good idea for you as well. You could be using whole spelt, you could be using whole wheat, rye. This is gonna work with other flours as well. I love this approach. This is crazy. Definitely an eye-opener to me. And I'm very curious to hear your thoughts. Please do share them in the comment section. What do you think of this method? Isn't that an awesome method that you can use on your day-to-day, where you just scoop out a little bit of sourdough and you have fresh, amazing bread? I think this is just so amazing. The only problem might be the fridge real estate. You need to have a little bit of space in your fridge. So, hope you enjoyed watching this. This has been so much fun. I really enjoyed it. I learned something new. I hope you did as well. A super unconventional method. And I'm very excited to see if more people are gonna use something like this. Because even for a restaurant, I think this is just amazing. Just heat up a pan, toss in a little bit of sourdough. And if you start your dinner like that, you're gonna have such an amazing experience. So thank you very much for watching. As always, may the gluten be with you.